Alrighty, not a Roll20 page, but still a D&D related video. Imagine. Also flashbang, not dark mode Google Docs, get wrecked. Let me throw on some music because I've just got a few things to go through. I typed out a bunch of new rules and updates to rules. I don't have the direct comparison on side by side here, but I'll just specify what's new and what isn't new and what's been removed. I will definitely get some music on though. I have a no copyright sounds playlist this time. I think the music is set slightly softer than it usually is, but I also don't know if if it's louder or softer on YouTube. Uh, let's see. I want this one. No, I want this one. Uh, God, me thinking about my music a bit too much. Anywho, let's get into it. So, first things first, as good old Mr. asked me just today, in fact, the first new ruling that I added in is character creation level. So, currently everybody is 12th level, but it would be a little awkward for new characters to also be 12th level or to be at a similar level to like characters when they reach higher levels. So I'm kind of blanket setting the levels right now for new characters unless I specify otherwise. So on the rare off chance that we get new players, their initial character will start at 12th level unless I specifies otherwise. Now, granted, if a new player does join the campaign and start at 12th level, say if everybody's at 16th level, don't you worry, they'll get catch-up XP. New characters made by existing players will not get catch-up XP, though. They will start at 10th level. They're not going to get thrown into the deep end immediately. Since the campaign is becoming so free-flowing, it should be in everyone's minds kind of that the expectation isn't that you're constantly going to be facing more and more difficult challenges. 10th and 12th level characters and up are immensely powerful in the D&D universe already, and everybody is already earning like passive features and the like, so they're even stronger than regular 10th and 12th level characters. So, you know, that's just how that's going to be for new characters added. And it also kind of encourages new characters to be added because if you know or can kind of figure out that it's going to be kind of a downtime of play where you're not going to experience sort of difficult things, it might be a good time to introduce a newer characters or a new character. Words, I'm amazing though, Lamau. Stats, nothing's changed. The point buy system is exactly the same. Pool of 77, minimum of 8 must be allocated in each stat. This is also, like I said last time, this is partially due to like roleplay issues and just issues within the world itself, right? Nothing has changed in the homebrew section except starting equipment. Before Homebrew Origins had starting equipment, I have decided that is no longer going to be the case. Starting equipment will be based on character backstory, and I will provide all the items based on the story provided to me. This ensures that I have read and understand a character's backstory, but it also ensures that we are on an understanding of, you know, backstory things. So there'll be no like I thought X, I thought Y, that can kind of elevate or, you know, pull back a character. Also, the full understanding will mean that characters also have the items when they're added to succeed. So, it'll make things pretty good. Nothing has changed in homebrew races. Spellcasting, nothing's changed yet, but I will add a lot of stuff there. Damage. I am adding some damage types, some variations, and some damage rulings. So, first things first, if it seems obvious that a spell shouldn't be doing, force damage or something, I mean, the rulings are neither here nor there. But if it seems obvious that a spell can be doing exactly what you think's damage type, I'm probably gonna make that a damage type, even if it's not, like, too common. For example, water damage, tsunami, dropping create water on people, it still can technically do damage. Wind damage, steel, wind, strike, and a few spells here and there, I feel would very much benefit from having wind damage instead of X or Y damage. Earthquake and stone throw, earth damage. Also, I feel like some variation, some uniqueness can be added throughout characters and, you know, different bits of the campaign if I add in some damage types. But that one's like relative. I'll try to keep it updated as much as I can, but if I don't say anything about a spell X or Y, then you can just assume that it's got the damage type that it says on the box. However, damage type variations will be a thing. Technically, we've seen them implemented already, just not in my campaign, but damage type variations, big thing, getting implemented. The main examples I have right here is Divine, Draconic, and Devil, for lack of a better word. Basically, say if you're a cleric and use Divine Intervention to cast a damaging spell, excuse me, all of the damage types in that spell will become Divine X damage type, right? So, for example, the Flame Strike spell is the best consistent example. The 5th level spell that does Radiant and Fire. It's very easy to be... Excuse me. Very easy to cast that with Divine Intervention because it's a 5th level spell. Basically, a cleric casting Flame Strike with Divine Intervention can make the damage types Divine Fire and Divine Radiant. This can bypass some things, and it can also negate some potential features. The big example is Flame Strike and Flame spells underwater didn't really work, the fire parts of them. But if you casted it with a Divine Intervention, all bits of the damage will go through because gods can decide what they want. Just like how if a dragon is underwater and they spit fire at you and they're strong enough, it'll deal draconic fire damage because their fire will be both strong enough and forceful enough so that they can use it underwater. Only like adult dragons and up will be able to do that though, but you get the point. There'll also be like minor things, like if you hit a devil with divine spell, they'll take like 25% more damage. If you hit a, you know, divine creature with a devilish spell, they'll take 25% more damage and the like. And I'll also add like other variations, kind of like silver. Silver is one of those rare damage variations, which I can just like add in there, like let me just do this. Silver. And when I can, I'll update it, but basically silver would do, say, 25% more to creatures weak to silver and the like, but also it would in general enable you to damage them. So that's currently that for damage types and damage type variations. I'll like expand on it later on, and I'll talk a bit more about it with everybody. Moving from there, true damage. I am not beyond this. I will tell you if you take true damage, And there are situations where I 100% think you deserve to be taking true damage in a situation or dealing true damage. Alright? The main one overarching for me will be fall damage. Fall damage is not going to be bludgeoning and it's not going to be force. It is now going to be considered true damage. And if you jump off of a specific height that I think is unreasonable, it will bypass features and resistances unless specified, or unless, you know, unless it slows your descent, essentially. Like Featherfall makes sense, it lasts a long time, slows your descent. The monk feature, I think there's a monk feature that makes you either negate or take less damage from fall damage. I think it's like a 14th or 13th level feature, I'm not quite sure right now. But like, say if you jump off of like a 30-story building in-game. Very specific. If you jump off of like a 30-story building in-game, and you're a monk, and you say, I'm going to use this feature to negate all of my fall damage, I would go, you're out of your mind, take X amount of damage, and, you know, find another way to not, you know, do something like that. Buy a parachute. Buy a cloth even. Just a giant blanket will do a lot more for you than just saying, I use X feature for my class. Now, I don't remember what the feature exactly does, so I won't say that it won't work all of the time, just in times where it's unreasonable for you to not be taking damage, you know, from fall damage. But that should be it for damage. I'm just checking my notes. Next, we're going to talk about retainers, I believe. So, yes, retainers. Lots to talk about regarding retainers. First things first, retainer costs. They're not free. They do have a loyalty meter in the background of things. So, they can become free if they're very loyal to you. But, like, I wouldn't worry about it too much unless there's a very specific, you know, situation. So I've done retainer bids before. I'll probably be doing them again whenever I make like more quality of life characters or passive fighters. They'll go up for retainer bid. Retainer bids include their services for a year, so you don't have to really worry about it in the scope of the campaign. But that doesn't mean you can't hire retainers that aren't special. You can hire regular people as retainers in cities and towns, and you know, they can have their contracts negotiated. Say your character finds themselves in a situation where they only need a retainer for a month, say a maid, you can hire a maid for a month, and it would probably be pretty cheap if you hired just a regular old character maid. Moving on from that, retainers have passive quality of life. Their skills offer passive quality of life for player characters. The main examples I've put down are gear maintenance, pet care, and food and comfort. Food and comfort is the biggest one because food and comfort helps you avoid and clear levels of exhaustion. So currently it doesn't matter too much for most of the player characters in Thelor in the hotel. They basically avoid and clear their level of exhaustions guaranteed because they have free meals, but if, say, you were camping and you had a food and comfort retainer, you would not need to specify to me that you are eating X amount or Y amount in the mornings and then the nights. I would just say, okay, your retainer has this covered. You going to bed without food's not going to net you a level of exhaustion because your retainer will force it upon you to eat in the mornings and in the afternoons and in the nights. They will also cover your sleep and, you know, cover your watches. So you'd always have a full night's good rest, right? Retainer missions, basically, if you don't want them, like, hovering around too much, you can just have them on missions. They can be sent out, and then they come back, and you get 80% of what they require on their missions. You kind of have to specify that they're out on missions because I am not making it a passive thing. Basically, I will roll or decide what retainers come back with from their missions. So it's going to be semi-passive. Basically, if I am DM'd in a downtime and somebody tells me, hey, I want retainer X to go out on a mission, they can do that. And they can bring back mission-related items. Now, this is often going to be combat-focused, but non-combat retainer missions are fine. Just the items will be different. For example, if you send out a maid as a retainer on a mission, they might come back with all of your gear maintenance completed, all of your packs filled with food, and stuff like that. You know, all of your clothes cleaned, and they might bring you some bonus items like... I'm trying to think. They might bring you bonus food, or they might bring you a rare trinket that might be useful. Whereas combat retainers would bring you, you know, hey, they'd be like, hey, I went out hunting and I got the pelt of a pretty rare creature. You should probably have this etched onto your armor or something like that. Or, you know, applied to something. So they can do a bunch of stuff. Now, peeking underneath there is player and retainer missions, so let me scroll. Basically, if in downtime you specify that a character is going on a mission with a retainer, this will happen pretty rarely, I imagine, you can tell me, roll a d20 in-game or wherever, send me a picture of it, and the rewards from the retainer mission will be increased by a certain percentage. Excuse me. A nat 20 would increase the rewards by 200%, which means you'd get 3x rewards. An average, I'm imagining the average will be 10 to 13, which will be a fair increase of 100%, so you'd get 2 times the rewards essentially. Everywhere above that 13 would be a big increase, and everywhere under the 10 would be a small increase. So one thing originally is I put down the original table, and I realized I picked 6 to 9 for 80% rewards, and obviously I can't stand for that, so you get a nice percentage increase in rewards for rolling anywhere between 6 and 9. If you roll between a 2 and 5, you get 50% increased rewards, and if you roll a nat 1, then you don't get increased rewards. You know, it's just the dice being the dice. The dice being fair, because there's always the possibility that you don't actually help a retainer with their mission. Finally, for the updated rules of today, we've got passives. Yay! Excuse me. So, first things first, passive income. Characters that are able will always have some thematic sorts of passive income for periods of inactivity. For example, in Ezekiel's case, his thematic passive income is his retainers, so they will send him some gold back. For Vulus, it would be the fact that he's a guild member. I actually have the example here. Characters that are member of guilds can pick up guild bounties consistently, but not always catching a typo here. This is why it's good to reread things, because members are not employees. This is just a big tidbit thing for me. If you're part of a guild, you're not its employee, you're its member. It's not technically guaranteed work, but it's like 95% guaranteed. For example, if you go to a guild, there is the possibility that everybody is so busy that every single job has been taken, even if you know, you're a member. There's the possibility that all the other members just finish their jobs. It's not like you know, consistent thing. But the general example as well, like a guild's not going to call you in if you are unavailable. They might send somebody out to search for you if you know, keep ignoring summons, but that's just how it be. Passive experience for inactive characters. Very, very little passive experience for inactive characters. I'm sort of going to incentivize everyone to swap characters out frequently, especially if you are planning to make more characters in general. If you're planning to make more characters, swap them out more, because you probably don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're playing your 10th level character in a situation where you might need your 16th level character or your 13th level character. But there will be time to always be playing. And the passive stuff is just for the fact that not everyone will want to, you know, throw out a message and say, hey, we're having a week of downtime, I'd like to do ABCD. This will just be like, well, I don't really know what I want to do, but this way I won't be, you know, getting nothing, pretty much. You'll gain way more if, you know, something is specified. If somebody tells me, like, hey, yeah, they want to do X, characters will gain way more then. But this just means that nobody leaves with 0 during periods of inactivity. Finally, passive abilities excluding features. So you can get passive features and all of the like, but this one is very important because this is a character and player passive. Just doing the general specification, characters can and will gain passives, both positive and negative, based on your roleplay. If you want to know how many passives a character of yours might have, you can ask me, but I'm probably not going to tell you exactly what they are or what they're doing. If you want, I can let you know that they might be bad or they might be good, but I'm not going to say, hey, you're at a severe disadvantage because of the way that your character acts, right? Because it's also not meant to be a super big punishment. It's meant to be essentially the predisposition of the world viewing you, because that's basically what passive abilities will be. Now, can you gain some very useful passive abilities? Can you gain some very useful passive abilities? Yes. 100% you will all be able to gain very useful passive abilities. These passives will in fact affect other people in the game as well, so I would watch out for it quite a bit. Quite a bit indeed. Alright. And that'll be it for now. This document got expanded quite a bit, and there's still so much stuff to add over time. Some of it's not even really rules, I would say. Some of it's just basically statements to tell you, hey, yes, X thing exists, you can ask about it, it can help you with A, B, C, D, and you know, this and that. But that is all the updates for the Homebrew Rules document right now. If anything changes, I'll probably... If it's minor changes, I'll just sort of at everybody and say, hey, minor changes have been there. But since there's been a bunch of changes, and I also don't want to talk about it too much on Friday, I decided video. If more major changes goes down and they're going to be relevant, I'll just make another video. But for now, I think that's going to be it for, like, rules, like rule type stuff. Alright. Anywho's, I will see you all next time. Ciao.